Very intriguing case here. Let's bring back criminal defense attorney John Manuelian. John, well, first off, what do you make of this? And the earrings, are they that big of a puzzle piece in this case?
Well, what Mr. Alcala is doing is showing the video that shows the earring from a certain angle, and he claims there's an issue as to whether or not it's one earring or two earrings, and he's trying to say that the video shows him wearing one long earring when in fact it was two earrings. It's actually poppycock bullocks. It's nothing but showmanship in front of the jury. I think is wasting the jury's time. I don't think the jury's following him in the third-party way that is asking questions regarding himself. He says something like, well, Mr. Alcala, what happened next? And he would answer the question. He would say, well, this is what happened next. It's distracting. It's confusing. It's a show. I don't think the jury's going to like it. And also, notably, is just arguing that one Samsoe case. He's letting the other four cases go, and there's this legal significance. The significance is years later, DNA was actually discovered or had the ability by the police department to use that. But back in 1978, 79, they didn't have that ability.
It is fascinating when you look at you throw in the dating game and the earrings, the other four cases. So how do you look at it, John? When you look at this, is he basically admitting guilt to the other four?
Well, he's staying silent, and you know, silence will be deemed in the jury's eyes as acceptance for the crimes because he's not refuting it. He's just refuting the Samsoe case. But the reason he's refuting the Samsoe case is because they don't have the same kind of technology and evidence that they have in the other cases. So basically, he's fighting the only fight that he thinks in his mind that he could win.
Gotcha. Okay, and we know he's a pretty smart guy. Pretty high IQ, and maybe probably that's why he thinks he can defend himself. Well, let's beyond the earrings. What other evidence do they have in the Samsoe case? Because that's front and center right now.
Well, they could have the clothing, they could have fibers, they could still have the hair from back in 1978. Remember, DNA could still be tested, even though the evidence could be old. It could be retested. But my understanding of this case is that there's really not a lot of evidence to test, and that's why that Mr. Alcala is focusing more on this count than the other counts.
Okay, and again so he's been in prison basically 30 years, and then in 2006 they linked him via, like you're talking about, some new technology, DNA, to these other four murders, right?
Right, correct.
And pretty convincing evidence, right?
It is. And I want to go back to a point that you made as far as representing yourself. We as attorneys have a saying, he who represents himself has a fool for a client. There's a reason why you don't want to represent yourself, because it looks silly. You don't know the evidentiary rules. You don't know what the burden is. You don't know how to convince a jury that the prosecution hasn't met the highest level of burden, the highest level of certainty under United States law, which is reasonable doubt. So he's really, if he has any chance in this case, he's really throwing it by representing himself. Yeah, okay, sure looks like it. John, thanks. Again, a fascinating case. Appreciate your time. Coming up, it's a story we're going to revisit here. It's an 18...